where we're talking about living plasma. I think that must be the top. Show you thinking. Yeah, so let's break it down. The term living plasma can refer to two different concepts depending on the context. Blood plasma, not that one, or physical plasma, the fourth state of matter. That one's what we're after. So that's another thing of the word plasma. That's why you really need to create a new word for plasma orbs. And I guess that's why they called it plasmoids now. Blah, 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 blah. Let's get down to where I ask it in ufology one. Okay, the term living plasma in the context of ufology and UAP refers to a highly speculative but studied theory that some UAP sightings are not advanced technology from extraterrestrials or foreign nations, but rather self-organizing, intelligent, or pre-life forms of physical plasma. The concept is rooted in the idea of plasma as the fourth state of matter, ionized gas, distinct from solid, liquid, and gas, which is highly abundant in space and can exhibit complex behaviors under certain conditions. Here is a breakdown of the concept in ufology. The living plasma / plasmoid hypothesis. The nature of the phenomenon. Plasmoids self-contained magnetic structures of plasma that can move and evolve independently. Lifelike behaviors. Researchers have documented instances of naturally occurring or experimentally created plasma or structures involving plasma and charged dust particles exhibiting characteristics that resemble life. Self-organizing, forming distinct, stable shapes, spheres, cones, cylinders. Now, when you think about it though, a sphere in Mother Nature is the perfect form. It's like super strong. It's balanced. It's symmetry, and it's the easiest form to make using the least energy. So it beats having a cone or a cylinder. The sphere, aka orb, right? Growth and replication, seemingly growing in size and splitting into two or more of a life form. So this is where we're talking about what is life, where it was consuming other atoms and generating more energy, and in that process also splits and duplicates itself, and the cells keep replicating, and then at some stage some of those cells turn into other cells. So it starts off with the basic cell being a stem cell, I guess, and the stem cell can become any cell in the body. So we're sort of understanding what life is, and but will we ever understand it all? Probably not. Movement and maneuvering, traveling at various speeds, making sharp 45 and 90 degree and 180 turns, and changing directions in the way it defy known aerodynamics. Now, I haven't seen any orb do 45 degree turns or 90 degree turns. Only videos I've seen are either misleading or fakes. But anyway, we'll get into that. Interaction appearing to congregate, follow other objects like satellites or aircraft, and engage in what some have described as hunter predatory. Now, the only things we've seen in videos have all turned out to be clearly balloons, right? And they're nowhere near the aircraft. So it makes you wonder where the AI is getting this information from. It almost sounds like pseudo ufology scientists, right? But I do delve deeper into that later. Is who are these credible scientists claiming these things, right? And it sort of falls a bit slowly. Feeding, being attracted to and possibly drawing energy from electromagnetic EMF radiation, thunderstorms, power lines. Again, there's no solid evidence of that. Now we're seeing what looks like ball lightning bouncing along a power line, but it doesn't absorb the energy and stay around longer. It still dissolves and disappears, right? What's the ones on the power line? They're not actually ball lightning, though. They're some sort of plasma ball. They got a special name for them, I can't remember. Anyway, proponents of this theory suggest that a significant number of UAP sightings, particularly those described as glowing orbs, lights, or Foo Fighters, observed by pilots during World War II, can be explained by this phenomenon. Now, we still don't know what the Foo Fighters were. And we still don't know if it was like some World War II technology that they were trying to produce these plasma or plasmoids to interfere with planes flying overhead, to distract pilots, maybe, or maybe sap the engines or something like that, and it didn't actually work. Or something from the universe, or something from Mother Nature. Natural UAP explanation: when these complex self-organizing plasma descend from the upper atmosphere, which they call the thermosphere, into the lower atmosphere, they would appear to be solid, highly maneuverable craft, an object that glows, thus classifying them as UAP. Now, it talks about the STS tether incident, and that straight away rubs me up the wrong way and makes me feel like now it's talking about orbs having consciousness from the STS tether incident. It puts a great doubt on it, because as Earl said, he had a family member that was an engineer on that project, and he said it looks like something they added inside the cable itself called grommets, and he needs to look at the blueprint to verify it. But I said, well, did he ever get back to you on that? And he said no, and they sort of forgot about it. But yeah, when he saw it on the video with the little hole inside, he said it was part of the component inside the cable they had made. So as the cable snapped, it came from inside the cable. Since it was flickering back and forth, it's causing it to spin clockwise. And of course, the cable is spinning around in an arc because it's flexible. These things would be flying around in different arc angles until they basically collided with something, changed direction or whatever. But these people here that think the tether incident actually proves that plasmoids are living entities going to be mistaken if that's what they believe in. Found numerous glowing objects near experimental electrical charged tether is often cited as key evidence of these plasmoids behaving erratically and interacting with EM energy. Consciousness intelligence. More extreme versions of the hypothesis proposes that these plasma entities may represent a non-biological sentient or pre-life form that may even be capable of communicating with or influencing human consciousness via electromagnetic fields. So that was like what I was trying to explain with the music at the beginning of meditation, causing hallucinations or abduction scenarios. So, causing hallucinations. I think I did ask it what pre-life is. How much more have we got of this? Living plasmoids. Head PhD made a research paper. This is a fascinating and specific question. The idea of living plasma or plasmoids being connected to UAP sightings is a multidisciplinary fringe theory. Is that where they're talking about summoning these craft? But one that has been discussed in academia style papers. Here are the most relevant findings that align with your query. So one is Joseph PhD and collaborators, multiple papers. Now, I don't think I've ever heard of that guy. I don't know about you. A prominent voice in the Pacific area who has published several papers that extensively detail the plasmoid hypothesis and the contents of UAP. Well, not a single PhD thesis. These papers are peer-reviewed in physics journals and draw upon a high level of academic rigor and data analysis. Now, what's peer review really mean? It means they've gone and checked their mathematics, right? Basically checked anything so there's no mistakes in the calculations. These papers will be talking about atoms and the fields they produce and how they can release a positron, an electron, probably entangled pairs as well, and how it can happen inside the fourth state of matter, probably all that sort of stuff, and how that interacts with normal matter, like solids, right? So that's probably what they're looking at. So they're going to have to generate plasmoids in the laboratory and do various experiments, like moving a piece of metal tube, or core, I should say, towards the plasmoid and see if it does anything, gets out of the way or defends itself, moves or whatever. So we've got ET life in the thermosphere. Core claim. These papers analysed NASA's footage like the tether incident and other European reports arguing that a significant number of sightings are kilometre-sized plasmoids exhibiting lifelike behaviours, movement, replication, hunter-predator. Fourth domain of life or pre-life. AV lobe. Oh no. He's number 2 on the hit list. Background in plasma physics. Well, he is most famous for his theories, he sure is, about interstellar objects like Uma being potential alien technology. AV Loeb originally earned his PhD in plasma physics in 1986. And then we got, what's this thesis topic? His doctoral thesis was a particle acceleration to high energies and amplification of coherent radiation by electromagnetic interactions in plasmas. So what does that mean? So they're accelerating a particle, probably a proton or neutron. No, it had to be proton, wouldn't it? Proton. And amplification of coherent radiation by electromagnetic interactions. So that sounds almost like sending a high-speed proton at the same time as transmitting microwave energy wave to produce a plasma, or fire it at a plasma. So how do they make the plasma? That's a good question. And who we got here? Number 3 is Sam. Never heard of him. Harrison, whatever his name is. Core claim the work develops a framework for understanding the cosmos as a living field of plasma like relationality, charged with energy, consciousness, and divine creating. So it sounds to me like he's saying that the universe is God. A living field of plasma. The universe is all plasma. And there you go, 3 people. Was it? 3 people. So yeah, all the plasma consciousness stuff comes from 3 people that we don't particularly like too much. One of them, anyway. And these other ones we've not really heard of. But if they're relying on the tether incident from Space Shuttle, then I have to question what they're making as claims, because they clearly didn't understand what they were saying. I think the angle turns, that I didn't see any 90-degree turns in that. They turned, but they didn't do 45-degree angles, 90-degree turns. There were nice gentle curves, unless they misinterpreted one, because we're talking about seeing 2D in a 3D environment, so maybe one was heading away and then another one is heading towards it, and maybe they collided or something and changed direction. Maybe they misinterpreted something there.
Stray light and is getting washed out quickly, but Claude is trying to do a quick, good job here adjusting the cameras.
Copy that.
Again, that description by the crew, this is the tether in the satellite with approximately 12 miles of tether still attached to it. Columbia and the satellite now just passing over the west coast of northern Africa. The two spacecraft now 90 nautical miles apart. Controllers for the satellite did have communications
even before the rocket engines were fired. That one here, is that 2 or 1 now? I suppose we have to convert it into an emanated gift to see really what's going on. Tedious stuff, but 9.3, it's not, we're running out of frames. The tether incident was O-ring locking grommets from inside cable, and blah blah blah. That's an extremely interesting and specific piece of insider information. It perfectly illustrates how there are often multiple, often conflicting explanations for complex, high-profile incidents like the STS-75. Here is the breakdown and alternative explanations, placing your friend's information in context. The STS-75 experiment, which aimed to drag a 1.8 mile conductive container cable through the Earth's magnetic field to generate electricity. The official NASA explanation for the tether break found that the break in the tether was due to a pinhole defect in the insulation combined with the trapped air bubbles inside the cable's core material. Well, that will do it, I guess. I'll just go through some of this. The glowing objects. Primary explanation seen in the footage was ice particles, ice crystals, space debris or flakes of material. It's funny how this engineer grommet theory was never ever brought forward. Anyway, because it had a little hole in the side, they had to be explained, right? If it's grommets, they're all going to be the same, right? They're going to be identical, so the grommets fits better than any ice particle, as far as I'm concerned. But they tried to explain the notch due to the camera they're using. The notch was part of the internal camera, and because the way they focused it, they reckon it created a artifact in the video image of all the bright light sources, but like bokeh, which is also another possible valid theory, of course, if we can not confirm that there were these type of grommets inside the cable. Anyway, MUFON Insider claim, which is mine, O-ring interleukin. The explanation would be a more detailed and mechanical manufacturing defect reason for the tether breaker cell submitting or challenging the plasma arc reason. It suggests a torque or winding failure mechanism could cause the cable to fail structurally rather than pure electric burn. The living plasma hypothesis evidence cited. The analysis of the object's movements, acceleration, change in direction at sharp angles, and clustering is inconsistent with inert debris or ice particles simply floating away. They appear to be intentional. The sharp angles weren't sharp angles though. Anyway, I'll bring it up later. The analysis of it has to be wrong. Yeah, engineer said he's seen the square bit missing and wanted to check. And it's still going over the same stuff here. Is there a story about lab experiments of plasmoids from this PhD? Now, if you're doing experiments, you'd expect them to be filming it and showing us what they're claiming to be consciousness, wouldn't you? But all they do is write all these papers, but nothing really interesting. There is an insightful question. Is laboratory experiments essential for giving credibility to a theory? The research papers published by Joseph, PhD, and his collaborators primarily focus on quantitative analysis of existing footage. So, in other words, looking at NASA footage, which is bullshit. However, the papers do reference supporting evidence from laboratory-created plasmas, though the research team's focus appears to be on analyzing the observed UAP behavior, not generating new experimental data. Okay, the story or evidence about lab experiments is cited in Dr. Joseph's research. Yeah, but where is it? Confirming lifelike behaviors. The papers note that the highly complex lifelike behaviors observed in the thermosphere plasmas are not entirely unique. Similar lifelike behaviors have been demonstrated by plasmas created experimentally. This indicates that the movements and interactions seen in NASA footage, such as accelerating, stopping, following each other, and making abrupt turns. I've never seen any of them following each other. I think that's just coincidence. That two might be heading in the same direction. But there's other factors involved. They're going to be electrostatically charged, right? So they're going to be a bit like a magnet. They're going to start attracting each other as well. So it may look like it's like got intelligence there, but really it's just normal natural processes. And we know water ice particles do have electrostatic charge, and we know that spaceships have electric charge, and the particles can repel from the skin of the craft. So, yeah, it's not really thinking. It's not actually in control of itself. If they suddenly stopped, right, which we know can't happen in space unless somehow the energy is absorbed. If it suddenly stops somehow, means it's got some sort of muscle reaction in the object itself to counteract the spin, then we could say it's living. Because plasmoids keep losing energy and shrinking and then disappear, ball lightning, then they can't be alive. They're not absorbing and maintaining themselves, and they're not moving on their own independent thinking. So I think it's all hotwash myself up to this point. Yeah, but if NASA footage is explained, a plasma orb like ball lightning exhibiting intelligence is more solid proof if done and filmed. That's a powerful point. If plasma orb exhibiting complex intelligent behavior could be reliably created and filmed in a controlled lab experiment, it would indeed provide far more solid scientific evidence. It's a bit like these UFO summoners. All we see is dots in the sky. This doesn't prove they're summoning anything. It means they're mistaken or have a mental problem. Now, if they were truly summoning things, they'd have something land 100 feet away, or closer, or hover above them, while they film it and document it, measure with various meters and devices to document it. That doesn't happen. So why do people believe in people like Dr. Greer then still in this field? I can't understand it myself. So you can see, weeks ago I was debating it with it, right? Can't the papers pass through? Can't the plasma pass through the chamber and float in lab? Okay, so that is correct. The ability to make plasma float and move without touching the chamber walls is a key aspect of the research, and is successfully done in laboratories, primarily using strong magnetic electric fields. This is fundamental necessary to study the lifelike behaviors, as any contact with the solid surface instantly cools and neutralizes the plasma. How plasma is made to float in a lab. Two main physics concepts are used. Magnetic confinement and electrostatic levitation. Magnetic confinement, we know what that is. Basically, it's a bit like my floating TR3B toy, right? And it's basically in these invisible waves of magnetism
screwed in either side of the magnets. Unfortunately, it didn't hold them in very tight, especially the sideways, so I still used some blue tack to stop them moving, and that seemed to do the trick. Although the final prototype should be glued on magnets or maybe a U-clamp. I'm still figuring the ideas here, and because there's a box on the end which I've stapled, allows me to pinpoint the exact location where the magnet should be put, and all it's doing is acting a small force against the knitting needle that was.
You can see there it's hovering above magnets quite happily, and this is phase 3 of the project now, I think it is, and that's creating a model, a finished product of the model on top, and next would be to glue it all in place, replace the blue tack, which will be phase 4, and then phase 5 should be painting the scenery and also painting the model itself. I think I'll probably print out stuff from maybe paint it and then print out bits of paper that I glue on, like windows, maybe tubing or something like that. See how it goes. Still prototype and idea, and you can see here it just bangs straight into the field there, and quite happy it's just stays there. To try and make it smooth and shaped, but it's terrible stuff to work with. So it's got little holes in it, and I haven't got much room. So yeah, as you can see, it's still floating. It's never missed a beat. And you can bounce it around. You can see it's bouncing up and down on the magnetic waves.
Helicopter can go on top if you can balance it. There you go. Helicopter land on top. They talk about using it like a space platform. I suppose it's possible. And of course it disconnects. And although you'd normally 3D print it and use transfers rather than try and paint it from a molded piece of foam, but you can see how it tracks magnets unless you're in the right field, right?
On top of it. And so it's just going through that, the electrostatic levitation. It's adding some mathematics in there. Passing through is not exactly how it works. The plasma is confined by the fields within the chamber. And I think I asked it, how long does it last? Okay, so they didn't get plasma to float outside field or solid chamber, because we've seen it with ball lightning, and we've heard about ancient stories of ball lightning where it passes through windows without making a hole, and it avoids people in the room, and it's almost asking people to follow it outside again, and hangs around for minutes, right? There's some of the claims, but we've never ever seen that on any video. And we're seeing ball lightning on video that only lasts 20 seconds or less, right? That is the key difference in most scientific. What's going on here? What's it say there? Like I said, it's a lot of reading this stuff, and this is why most people don't like science too much, because it is hard slog, and it takes a bit of brain power to wrap your head around it all. Problematic claim in the ball lightning and UAP plasmoid reports: no scientists have not been able to consistently replicate a stable plasma that floats freely outside a confined field or a solid chamber, and definitely not that passes through a solid object without causing significant damage. The phenomenon passing through glass or walls without a hole remains solely in the realm of unverified eyewitness accounts. Here's a breakdown of why this distinction is so crucial. The physics barrier, energy density, eyewitness conflict. While lab research cannot replicate it, the phenomenon of passing through a window is one of the most persistent enigmatic features reported for natural ball lightning. Now, I've got those stories in my old magazines that I presented in about 8 lives, reading them out and turning the pages and trying to video it for you. There were kind of some interesting story of the ball lightning. But was it ball lightning? As I'm going to show you next, there's various ball lightning, and it might be that the plasmoids not all equal. Are they made up with different atoms, like gases? So ball lightning is probably made from the gases in the atmosphere. But could a plasmoid be made from not just gases but solids as well? And the right combination gets it to last up to 20 minutes. But is it alive still, or is it just responding to the magnetic fields of the environment? But yeah, we'll just go for some interesting stuff from that next. Then I asked it about the paper here. Anyway, we're sort of done there. But yeah, I said, let's just verify this. How long do plasmoids exist before just disappearing? The lifespan of a plasmoid, whether in a lab, in the atmosphere, is ball lightning, or as a theorized UAP depends entirely on two factors: confinement and energy supply, what keeps the gas ionized. Without a constant source energy or stable magnetic bottle, most plasmas disappear in a blink of an eye. But I think it did say duration milliseconds, 2 minutes. So the problem they've got here is ball lightning duration 1 to 10 seconds, I reckon, on average. But I've heard 20 seconds elsewhere. So I'm not sure on that. 10 seconds would be the average, though, I guess. The feed-in theory, the reason there are theorized to be live-in is the apparent ability to stay stable for long periods. Now, where would they be getting their energy from in the atmosphere? These UAP plasmoids. It's got to be coming either from the ground itself, the Earth, or it's got to be coming from cosmic radiation, right? Or solar winds. Or it comes from dark energy or / dark matter. Well, dark matter producing dark energy. Yeah, still kicking in those guys, but anyway, enough on that. So you can see why I was struggling with this particular plasma orbs for talking about it, because I knew it's going to be complicated. And most people say I'm too dumb to understand it anyway, and I've got to understand it and then try to break it down to explain it in lay terms for everybody. But yeah, I never said I was perfect, and I certainly don't say I understand it all. Yeah, so what are these guys saying so far? So I've sort of been in my own zone there for a wee while, but we are going to get a wee bit more interesting bits into it. Right, Greer is a grifter. Greer is buddies with a Rockefeller. I think he's buddies with everybody, isn't he? Especially hoaxers. Lawrence Rockefeller was a funder and supporter of Greer's work. Well, I thought Rockefellers were meant to be intelligent in that case. If they're giving Greer money to do something, they certainly got scammed. So yeah, bullshit alert. Well, lucky enough it didn't say he was one of the PhDs in this plasma consciousness stuff. So yeah. So there's another guy in the UFO field that you may have heard of, because we have talked about him in the past, with Robert Farmer, who, by the way, will be coming on the 28th, which will be 27th for you guys. And I'll be putting out a thumbnail and putting the show up ready for you guys. Ready for it. So yeah, we'll see what he has to say to round up the year of 2025. It's been a pretty bad year, really. So, looks like he's in Canada anyway, but we'll just go through it here. Charles Lamorix, is that how you say it? Maybe we can get it to read out. Let's see. I don't know, Edge doesn't seem to read scientific papers really well. But what's interesting here is we got this paper from Robert years ago, where he was talking about what he was filming in Canada to a PhD scientist, but wouldn't reveal his name, and we just got AE, is it? Or AF, is it AE or is it AF? So I thought that might have been AV low, but it doesn't look like it, does it? AV, AE, Albert Einstein. Or was it F? I can't. It must be E, isn't it? It has to be E. So we'll come back to that in a minute. But so we actually got some videos to look at with this particular guy who's not a scientist. He's just a sky watcher. I probably already got it posted, have I? No. Yeah, I don't think it's the same though. 2026. Mystery orange. Okay. Oh. The question is it going to let us read it? How do we get rid of that? Go away. Oh, there we go. Okay, so he's got some video, so let's just have a look at the video and then we'll just read out. Oh, is it a video? Oh, they're just snapshots. There might be another web page link I've got. Is it a video? Oh, yes, a video. Okay, let's have a watch of this. See what you think. So we're talking about plasma orbs here. Speed reduced by 50%. Looks like I'm going to have to zoom in. Okay, so what is that thing? And why can't he keep it on the center? That looks like an airplane. He says it's sort of semi-transparent. Transparent. Okay, it's not the best of videos, is it? Less than a minute. Got to be a satellite. Now, this is back in 2000, I think, isn't it? What year number are we talking about? 2016 there, but what year was in the video? What does it say down there? I thought I saw a time on it. Down here, what's that say? 2016 as well. Okay, so we're talking about 2016. So there should have been various apps on a phone that you could look up to check to see if it was a satellite. And is this a static camera or what? If it's on a tripod, then all these things are moving all over the place. Or is he just filming it with a handheld thing? So we don't even know that, but that looks like a plane passing there. What's this object in the sky? Is it some sort of debris, you know, or is it some sort of LED balloon? A clear one with like a red LED in it. Is it a Chinese lantern? Why does he think it's living? It's not really doing anything amazing. It's not sort of going around in a circle and then off in all different directions. Could it even be the International Space Station? So there we go, look. Yeah. Is that a bug? So it looks like it went towards it. So it looked like a bug, you know. Maybe it's not a plane. Let's just go back on that one. I don't think there's any talking on it. We've got full volume on. That's clearly a bug. So that means that could be just... He can't be seeing it with his eyes. I don't think so. So we're going to have to read out what it's all about. Because something's not adding up here. So it could be a piece of pollen floating around. Was it being illuminated red though, is the question. Anyway, let's see what he's got to say. I'll read aloud.
Published on June 12th, 2016 at 5:47 a.m. Eastern Time. Follow us on Google News.
Yeah, so notice the time straight away is when you're getting the sun coming up at sunrise is where you're going to get things illuminated orange, right, and red, like weather balloons. But I'm going to go, why does that insect look like it's touching it and passing by it? Well, that might be just an optical illusion, you know, what do you call it? What's the word? Is it parallax? But anyway, the insect might be actually closer. It may only look like it's attracted to the blob, but it actually changed directions and they crossed open just by consequences. So yeah, let's just keep this going and have a listen.
Written by John Thomas Didymus. News writer
Didymus.
Charles Lamoureux, a veteran UFO hunter from Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada, reports capturing a mysterious orange plasma orb UFO using night vision camera. According to the UFO hunter, although he was able to capture the sphere or orb UFO using his night vision camera, he was unable to capture it using a thermal heat sensing camera. Footage showing the mysterious orb has sparked a controversy. While skeptics
Indeed.
say that Lamoureux appears to have filmed city trash, such as a plastic bag floating in the evening breeze, the UFO hunter insists that the perfectly spherical object could not have been a plastic bag and that it was possibly a UFO of extraterrestrial origin. The veteran UFO hunter told Open Minds TV's Alejandro Rojas that he uses specially outfitted equipment he calls Skywatcher's Mobile Unit, SMU, for UFO hunting. The SMU, according to Lamoureux, consists of a regular camcorder, night vision, and thermal cameras. Lamoureux told Rojas that he was skywatching on the night of June 3, 2016, when he captured on camera a mysterious orange plasma orb UFO. He said he could judge, based on his decades-long experience as a UFO hunter, that the object was not a bird, a plane, a satellite, or any other object commonly mistaken for UFOs.
Prove it.
He was able to capture the orb using a color night vision.
You should be able to prove that it's not a satellite, at least. It clearly wasn't a bird. But those other ones could have been. But yeah, they look more like insects.
Vision camera, but his thermal black and white camera was unable to reveal the object. He noticed the strange object at about 11:45 p.m. on June 3, 2016, while watching the sky with his night vision camera. I noticed an orange fuzzy object and realized it was within
the
200
time's changed. So that's coming up to midnight. Well, that changes things, and that means the sun shouldn't have been able to illuminate it, because it's not in that key signs and horizon of sunrise or sun setting. So that does sort of change things.
200 feet from me since I had to focus the camera, Lamoureux said. I know this because my camera is usually set for infinity, and if I have to focus, then I know the object must be within 200 feet. The UFO hunter described the UFO as a sphere or orb-shaped object. He also explained why he believed it was not a bird or other object commonly mistaken for UFOs by less experienced skywatchers. Most night vision captures I see, I can easily see wings if it's a bird, bug, or any other mundane object, he explained.
Well, we saw wings.
He was also able to rule out the possibility that it was a balloon. This object was semi-translucent, so I ruled out a balloon, he said.
But you
this
get clear,
object was semi-translucent,
clear balloons.
so I ruled out a...
And you get clear balloons from wedding parties with LEDs in them. Yeah, you can't rule it out like that. Because it's semi-translucent. So I ruled it out as a balloon. He's talking about latex balloons, I think. And mylar balloons, because they're not translucent, but... latex can be. They can be clear. So yeah, I'm not sure. That's a kind of crazy statement, that one.
Out a balloon, he said. He also ruled out the possibility that it was trash, such as a plastic bag, being blown in the breeze because there was no wind at the time. I then followed it, and since it was fairly close, I looked directly at the sky and did not see anything, he continued. He then tried to use his thermal camera to pick up the object's heat signature, but the equipment was unable to detect any. The UFO hunter pointed out that his camera is able to pick up the heat signatures of even small birds flying. In fact, he was able to pick up the heat signature of a bird flying above the orb at the time. The video shows the small bird, or heat-emitting object.
So doesn't that discount it being a plasmoid then? Because that's going to be giving off energy, heat energy, and it should show up in thermal. And it should show up on the black and white IR he had. So could it be some sort of anomaly to do with his other camera? Yeah, have to keep thinking about that one.
Object flying above the mysterious orange orb. Although the bird appeared on the thermal and night vision cameras, the orb was invisible to the thermal camera and appeared only on the night vision. Lamoureux's thermal imager is able to show objects.
So he's being honest here that it was a bird.
Objects with different temperatures using color codes. But the fact that the orb was not visible on the thermal camera shows it was about the same temperature as the surrounding air or even cooler, Lamoureux explained.
Which
It's been 15 months since my last witnessed event. This is the real deal and for sure 100% spherical. According to the UFO researcher, the mysterious object appeared to be about 80 degrees over the horizon, southwest of his position. He was also able to estimate that the object was flying at about 30 stories high because the night vision camera captured it flying past buildings. The UFO hunter told Open Minds TV that he was convinced the object was not an ordinary flying object, such as a drone, a bird, or trash being blown in the wind. He noted that the object had a perfect spherical shape. It's been 15 months since my last witnessed event, and I skywatch almost every clear night since, he said. This is the real deal and for sure 100% spherical. He submitted the video to MUFON's Mark D'Antonio, an experienced skywatcher himself, and expert video analyst. I looked at the video, and noticed that he is using the Luna Optics full-color Microlux camera, D'Antonio wrote in his report. The sensitivity is about 0.3 lux, so it is an interesting camera. As for what he caught on the footage, it's not very far away, it's only about 100 feet away from him by his own admission, D'Antonio continued. According to D'Antonio, the fact that the object was filmed in an urban area increases the likelihood that it was trash floating in the wind. The analyst said he has found over the years that city trash floating in the wind is often mistaken for UFOs. It appeared to me to be more like a plastic bag flying around in...
So, because he looks at a lot of MUFON for a second opinion, he's obviously seen lots of videos with a similar type thing floating past, which has turned out to be plastic bags. Clear shopping bags or whatever. But how about the colour though? Is that false colour? Don't know, probably have to look at the camera make and all that.
In the air, D'Antonio said. I am not saying that is what it is, but that would account for the reason why there is no thermal signature, which he thought was very important. But Lamoureux pointed out that the object was evidently a perfect sphere, unlike a plastic bag, and that the wind was very still at the time he filmed the object.
Yeah, it doesn't rule out a clear balloon.
But Lamoureux pointed out that the object was evidently a perfect sphere, unlike a plastic bag, and that the wind was very still at the time he filmed the object. He also noted that the video shows the object changing direction, unlike an object floating randomly in the breeze.
Well, we can't really determine that because we can't tell if he's moving the camera or the object's moving. That's why you have another camera set up, but he said that didn't get picked up. Another camera on a tripod on a wide view, maybe it'd be like a little speck passing, but at least you'd be able to see it, how it's moving.
Breeze. D'Antonio said his conclusion was only tentative and that it was not a final or definitive identification of the object. But he insisted that the evidence from the video was not sufficient to conclude that the object was of extraterrestrial category.
Yep.
Open Minds TV's Alejandro Rojas recalled that D'Antonio gave a similar opinion years ago when he was asked to investigate a UFO spotted over Las Vegas. See footage below. UFO hunters have been scrutinizing Lamoureux's video to form their own opinion. What do you think? Image via Shutterstock.
So yeah, what do you think, guys? Now, it said there's another link here, but where is it? To that Las Vegas. See footage. There's no link there. So has this been scraped from Shutterstock? Has it been scraped from another website and this added to this one? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, what do you think of this? What's this one here? Mystery orange orb. What's this stuff over here? What's that there? Building? Yeah. It's not exciting, is it? The orbs never really excite me. It kind of reminds me of the ones I used to get in the bedroom, right? Some of them looked like dust and some didn't. And that's what I keep telling you. There's orbs and then there's orbs, so there you go, not found. Great stuff. I'll post a link to it. You can have a play on your big screens there. But yeah, I'm not really impressed with it. You know, Canada orange orb. There's a load of trash. I don't actually think it was trash myself. Very small world. Hey, he couldn't possibly be lying or wrong. He doesn't submit reports all the time. Who's that? Who are you talking about? Okay, look, where did we get to? Accomplishment for him. Agree, you mean? He's a buddy to anyone who'll pay him. Yeah. Doubt that. Had hope from Greer in my unaware days. He couldn't possibly be lying or wrong. He doesn't submit reports all the time. So cast fault. Right on, we can go by that perfect sphere. Yeah, I don't know if it was perfect sphere, but you can have a look on the video. I think some of the movement was motion blur stretching it, wasn't it? But anyway. What's that one? Yep, okay. So this guy's filming these orange orbs all the time. And so he's been bugging scientists that study plasma and give them the footage to get their opinions on it. And it's on this article here that he modified and sent it to Robert Farmer years ago. So we couldn't get it to read out last time, and we manually went through it the hard way, reading it out. So we'll just read it out here, but yeah, we have got the video where it was from. So that's Charles. And here's the video, and there's a picture of this Charles guy. That's part of Robert's group, I think. Secret Research. So that's where we were talking about it.
They should read it. We've done it before.
You can see we were trying to get the readers to work. This is before Edge was around, I think. We had to use another one to do it, which wasn't as good. And Edge is not perfect either. One day it'll be perfect though. It'll be like a real person. I suppose if you pay for the AI, and then they give you the perfect version. So that was back when was it last year? And he got 7 likes back there too, 4 years ago. Okay, so this Plasmoid stuff has been going on for some time. I'll give a link to it, but we'll redo it here. We'll go through the article that we did. With statements, probably too big now. Aerospace statements in response to orb phenomenon questions from Charles Skywatcher. I still can't read it. Dated 2014 to 2018. All statements have not been altered in any way. Most statements are in response to my questions about the orb phenomenon I've been filming and seeing over Vancouver, Canada. His name will be kept confidential as required. Same old, same old. Why is he too scared to say what his name is? Is he telling some top secret stuff? Aerospace engineer. Okay, dear Charles, many thanks for your message. Precisely, I added you because I had already seen your channel, YouTube channel, with some interest in infrared videos. Now, what scientist would be interested in a UFO channel? Who would be in aerospace? It'd have to be that Matthew, whatever his name is, that's on Proof Is Out There. Indeed, I work for the aerospace industry within Europe and North America. Unfortunately, I could not... It's going to be hard for my eyes. Not define what you captured on your videos with only the information images provided on them. But they do not behave as any of the spacecrafts I know, human-made or not. Many of these elements do not even have a defined molecular structure, so they could just represent what is called a quantum energy condensation from an unknown source. This topic about the orbs and many other sky anomalies is really complicated. There are many sources that work as the cause of these anomalies, even though I can assure you that strange objects are orbiting close to polar regions, and those are not man-made artificial satellites. I wonder if it could be that Gill, Beatrice, or whatever her name is. Regarding my quote, please feel free to use, but never provide my name, since I'm currently working under different security clearance. But this theory, respect to the so-called quantum energy phenomenon, is a variation of the known as network theory, and only represents a small quantities of these objects that appear close to ground, max to approximately 8 kilometers altitude, depend on the region. Thanks again. No, we'll never use your name, and probably not use quantum energy condensation too much, as it really over my head. I told one of my Facebook friends, and he sent me some info on the subject. Anything you tell me will be completely confidential. I'm really interested for myself because I can't find any answers at all. I film them regularly, and they seem to hang around my balcony. But not for the last 3 months, so many have left. What was that? This was my first orb, and is this what you are referring to as the network? Because everything you... That's funny how it read out the other PDF, right? Is it because of all the extra lines in this PDF? It's got some character in there that must throw off the reader. It must be, because the other PDF played fine. It should have been working. I shouldn't have to be struggling with my eyes trying to read this. Yeah, so look at this plasma-like orb, very intelligent, and hung around for several months and never returned. Okay, I'm not sure what he's shown him, because he hasn't put a link to the video. Just wondering if what I'm doing filming these objects help you and your colleagues. That sounds like that person we were talking about before when he talked about his colleagues. What was his name? Joseph. Anyway, how they react and travel in the sky, just curious. Charles, as I told you, the topic of these orbs and other floating elements is a sensitive issue, since they are not related to man-made causes or any other common nature effect. How does he know? any of these structures that you're filming cannot hold or cannot be grabbed. They do not follow the general physics laws, but they are running through the relativistic and quantum domains in our current knowledge level. Once we started changing our perception of reality, creating proper mathematical models that unify the most basic laws of physics, electromagnetics, atomic and macroscopic, nuclear and gravitational, we could start to understand reality from a more real perspective. Unfortunately, all these topics are not studied within the public domain institutions, and my domain is relative to other different topics. Sounds like a gobbledygook again, doesn't it? Sounds like something like those secret space program guys that talk about 20 and back, which is a load of crap. Thank you. My apologies if I'm asking more questions than I should. Okay, let's just give on a bit. Obsessed. I never wanted to believe in UFOs. I'm a professional medical practitioner and consultant. So again, my apologies. So that's the Charles person. Charles, don't worry, no apologies needed. The topic goes further than just UFO, aliens, or whatever society has programmed you to think about. It's mainly about a deeper understanding of life itself. I'll be glad to receive any material from your side. I'm always open to provide some feedback. Much appreciated. I'm in the process of writing a white paper on my experiences last 3 years since winter. It's cloudy most of the time. Give me some time to work on something. I hope you are well. Cloudy and rainy days in Vancouver for the next few months. There we go. Ran on to page 5. Oh god. Goes on a bit then. Couldn't find anything on the internet and wondered if you had a chance to see anything really cool while it passed Mars. What passed Mars back in 2014? Was it some sort of space probe? Or comet? Busy day for you, all the best. Hey Charles, sorry for my late reply. Comments regarding the comet passing Mars. But I have been and still am really busy lately. I didn't receive some more pics, but they are nothing special in terms of resolution or further details. Just check these sites where you can see more information. What sites are they talking about? Today it was a really crazy day with the Philae landing. Really exciting event. Charles, thanks for the link. You are probably so busy. What an exciting place to be. Congrats and hope tests come back more positive tomorrow. Scientist doesn't like to talk much. Hey, wonder if you would be interested in audio interview. Of course you ain't going to be interested, is he? Hi Charles, good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well over there in West Coast of Canada. In a couple of months I'll be heading to NASA in Ohio and Langley for some months. So what's your approach for the documentary? What kind of content include? Please feel free about let me know. So that was 2015. So is he still working on this documentary? Audio or video? Skype? No, not Skype. Looking forward to hearing from you. Sorry for my late reply. I cannot access these messages before. I'm not available until Thursday. Okay. Totally understand your position. We would only ask your questions on dynamics of possible causes of these lights seen in the sky and ones I've captured. They are not really going the ET route at all. It's got a video we would blur out your image. Hi, I have not heard back from you, so I can only assume you do not have time or feel like you would like to chat. Hi Charles, good to hear from you. I really feel sorry for my late replies, but I totally forgot to send you a message. My most sincere apologies. Typical scientists are crap to deal with. At the moment, I'm still in Washington. Are you finally organising any event related to UAPs? Documentary, I was wondering if it's okay to use your quote. You're not going to get an interview. We can use his email. I forgot to the sighting last year. Captured this bright UFO just above my apartment. Night vision. Charles, it's always good to hear from you. Blah 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 blah. I'm not sure if the IR fingerprint is based on the sensor or your receptor, but the trajectory discards several possibilities. Commonly by IR sensors, this kind of circular or orb-shaped object can be detected in lower levels of the atmosphere. Because we can't see what he's showing this scientist, right? So it'd be funny if someone was flying a LED ball around at the top of his apartment, and that's what he's been filming for the last 5 years or whatever. Blue bright like a lead light. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? It could be just a man-made object. So yeah, how much of this crappity do we go through? Okay, talking about balcony windows. About reason why I thought maybe someone, here we go, with a larger quadcopter was flying between buildings. Colour of blue lights were exactly the same. Exactly, mate, exactly. And then you got LED kites, LED balloons, and you can mount all sorts of RC controls to any of those. So I thought we might going to get something really juicy here about the plasmoids, but like him talking about an experiment or something, but doesn't look like it from just skimming this now. Before you like to see a video from Alaska recently, blah blah blah, Fairbanks. Up to 15 pages at the moment. It's man-made or not, but ruling out just about everything so far known man-made. I don't think he has ruled out everything. Now that's the problem with Skywatchers. They need to get someone impartial to always check out what they claim to be aliens, right? Last correspondence, June 2018. Static8films.com. Suppose we can have a look at that link there, couldn't we? What's these guys up to? Stargazer, how's it going? The only time we ever seen them, they really exist and not a myth. Okay, 20 and back. Bullshit. Yeah, interesting, Stargazer. A few of them came directly over the top of us. 30 miles with no propulsion. Yeah, unless we see what you're seeing, we can't rule out it being man-made or mistaken identity here. We're seeing the anti-gravity triangles. So if you've seen them, why haven't you filmed them? And as close as a civvy could get to one. I saw 7 over 25 minute span. Incoming hurricane. Yeah, Santa's else must be interfering. Yeah, we gave up on that read. one worked, one PDF worked, the other PDF seemed to get stuck in a loop. It must be some strange character on the page, I guess. Should send it to Microsoft and say, look, can't get it to read this. Fix it. Yeah, maybe I should open up the voice line so people can talk about their own UFO sightings. But this is dragging out longer because we're having little problems. So I thought that document might have had something more interesting in it, but blah, I think it was a waste of time in the end anyway. I think the stuff I have looked into and questioned is probably better. Anyway, let's so there's another chat with AI. Let's just skim on a bit here. My nose is blocked up too. And now I get a really dry mouth. So, you can see I've been doing a bit of research on this. And using AI, but anyway, I just want to play this account from Earl Grey at least. About his mother. Now, as you recall, his mother was a very interesting lady that worked with Howard Hughes and also met Von Braun in the underground Mole Deep base somewhere in the desert in America, and where they got a presentation probably on UFOs and aliens. So there's definitely lots of secrets on the government still, and we've not heard anything on the whistleblower side of things about Earl Grey's mum. But Earl Grey apparently was down in the underground base as a baby growing in the tummy at the time. He found out later because she mentioned, "Oh, Earl Grey, Earl, you were with me." Huh? Oh, right. She was pregnant. I miss Earl Grey.
She pushed herself.
Okay, so I think it's around about here. We're getting a bit bigger. Earl's up in the corner here talking. Let's display it.
Herself up on her elbows, and she's watching this. It moves away from her sister, and then goes and moves over towards my mom, and is hovering in front of her. And then the thing, it goes back to the screened-in porch. The screen, it pushes through, and my mom said that as it pushed through, sparks were coming through it.
Really?
And yeah, sparks were flying from it. It sounded like a hive of bees, is what she said. And once it pushed through the screen, my mom got up and she starts following it. She ran after it into the middle of this cornfield. And she finally caught up with it. It stopped. It was up about maybe 30 feet up in the air. And my mom said that she was standing under it just looking at it. That it was just like this ball of sparklers. And it hung there for a couple of minutes, and then she said it popped. It just disappeared, and she could smell ozone in the air.
That sounds very similar to what Shelley saw, but we'll get her on when she gets home. She's currently on the road somewhere. I don't know where they're gone.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, if we get...
So that was the day that Shelley Morrison was going to come on to about her UFO encounter. But yeah, so we're talking about other things meantime, of course.
Couple of weeks later, the same thing happened again. I'm talking to this woman, and she's a lifelong experiencer, and then she says, "Well, this has been happening to my daughter as well." And so I've got like 4 cases that I'm working on right now.
But did it happen to her mother as well? Does it go? How far back does it go? Do they know?
To the mom, it went back to like her teenage years, and the daughter.
Not her mother then said anything about being abducted then.
Yeah, it was not a concept back when this started with her. It was before Bud Hopkins was writing his books and stuff.
Right.
I guess maybe the Hills were out there and all that with Betty and Barney Hill, but
because what happens is if you don't mention it to your mother, the mother won't mention about her abduction to the kids, right? So if you never bring it up, they won't bring up their past history. Say, "Oh, okay, it happened to me exactly the same way." And your grandmother, and so on and so on. It might go back generations, hundreds of years,
Yeah, I think so. Isn't that strange, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I think my mom had a strange alien connection. I mean, when she was a little girl, you're well aware of the story, Paul, but she had what I guess you would call like an electrically charged orb. It was about the size of a beach ball that went and pushed through their screened-in porch. This was in Iowa back in the 1930s, it would have been.
Yeah.
And it pushed through the screen. It hovered over her sister. They slept on the porch because it was so humid in Iowa where they were growing up. And my mom watched this thing hovering over her sister, and she was awake. She pushed herself up on her elbows, and she's watching this. It moves away from her sister and then goes and moves over towards my mom and is hovering in front of her. And then the thing, it goes back to the screened-in porch, the screen. It pushes through, and my mom said that as it pushed through, sparks were coming through it.
Really?
And yeah, sparks were flying from it. It sounded like a hive of bees, is what she said. And once it pushed through the screen, my mom got up and she starts following it. She ran after it into the middle of this cornfield. And she finally caught up with it. It stopped, and it was up about maybe 30 feet up in the air. And my mom said that she was standing under it just looking at it. That it was just like this ball of sparklers. And it hung there for a couple of minutes, and then she said it popped. It just disappeared, and she could smell ozone in the air.
That sounds very similar to what Shelley saw, but we'll get her on when she...
Okay, so Earl had lots of great stories like that. But yeah, sounded like something on his mother's side was going there with the alien connection. And the funny how she ended up working in top secret government with these famous people. So yeah, Shelley probably didn't get to hear that, but she might have played it back after her interview. Shelley's gone, is she? Okay. Oh no, she's still here. Yeah, we're missing. Yeah, he died too young. He was only 68 apparently, and I thought he was 75. But yeah, he had, if he died before 80, it seems just too young, doesn't it? But yeah, so that's one orb account. Now, where did it disappear to? Did it just simply fizzle out all its energy? Was it really intelligent? And when it passed through basically a Faraday's cage, it went through the fly screen door, you'd expect it to short out and lose all its energy. So that sounds like a different kind of plasma orb to me. It doesn't sound like a regular ball lightning. And maybe that's where the science is still yet to catch up. Maybe there are still these things called Earthlights, or maybe they're part of the way aliens move, creating doorways. Now we've heard on Bigfoot accounts. So yeah, let's see. Sunday Live with Earl. I'll share that one. You can have a listen to it. I put this in the episode last night I did, 15 minutes. Doesn't look much, but it's a thermal image of something peeking from behind a tree, which is fairly tall, like 10 feet or whatever. And it has on thermal these white, which don't look like spheres, but that she was seeing them as spheres. But because this tablet she's using with the thermal camera on it is on an angle to the cameraman filming it, it's on an angle, so the spheres look like they're sort of like long streaky messes, right? And these orbs appear,
head, which is what you hear. Look,
yeah, I'll just explain it. They appear around the head of the so-called Bigfoot that was peeking behind the tree, but there was a big stream or river between the investigators and the Bigfoot. And it's almost like he activated something, and it started creating these orbs. You could see on the thermal appearing and moving, and then the thermal image of the creature suddenly starts shrinking up to its head, and it turns into like a little orb, and it joins the other ones, and they all disappear on the footage of the expedition Bigfoot. So that's the second time they caught orbs over top of a forest or tree line where there's been a Bigfoot. This time they caught it on thermal. The other time they caught it on regular camera. You could see it on these orbs above the tree appearing, which looked like hovering drones in the distance, but clearly they weren't, and they didn't have any sound or anything. They would have heard them. And then they see them disappear, and then they see this Bigfoot walking along the ridge where the orbs were. So I think that was on the first season even, they captured that on the very end episodes. But yeah, so these orbs seem different to the plasmoids that what Il was talking about with his mother, and also what they're filming in Canada, if they aren't man-made, that he's been mistaken about. There wasn't much to see on that, so I'll just close it down. Unfortunately, it wasn't very good. And this one here, what was this one? So this one was using that, what's it called now? EM-CCD. So it's a what is it? Electron multiplier CCD camera. And this captures these orbs that seem to flicker on the camera screen, and which they record in, and they seem to grow bigger and then explode and disappear. And they kept doing that all over the place in the woods around the house. And when suddenly they have Bigfoot appear, walking along what look like the balcony. So are they teleporting in on that location when they happen to be filming? And I'll just mute it here. But it does eventually play. So it doesn't look much, but these are orbs disappearing out of nowhere. And there's one over here too, near the play button. What are they? Well, I reckon it's to do with opening portals to allow them to enter from their universe into our universe to do hunting here. That's what I reckon. And then they go back. Eventually I hit the play button there. But these orbs again, can only see it with the special electron multiplier, because it's too faint for a regular IR camera to see. And that's what the other guy was saying. On some of his IR cameras couldn't film these plasmoids that he claims, but one camera could. Now you can see those orbs disappeared in a few seconds. And he said it was, see how it sort of flashed there? He said it was like fireworks going off of big flashes, orbs all over the place, like sparklers. I'm not going to see some more here. There you go, look. They don't last very long and then they fade away. Okay, so that's all I did of the episode because of copyright. But so yeah, we're finished with that one. So again, we got no size comparison how big those orbs, plasma orbs, are. And then we get these ones that we get when we ghost hunting. And no dust, so I'll just bring that one up there. Now we've looked at dust in my room and we know it's not dust, this particular one. And it looks like it's emitting its own light source, and I'm dead to the world. Yeah, some snoring here. Hey. So is this the first video or the second one? Because the first one just shows you there's no dust floating around at all, and the other one shows you this one big orb that seems to want to head towards the camera. You can see it's coming up to 6:30 in the morning, and you can see it looks like it's got floodlights in there, but this is how good these sensors are now with just a few infrared LEDs. That's all. So this is a Sony sensor, as I'm talking about here, and these cameras are only like $30 camera. But look how good the image is compared to what we get from the Navy footage, right? And you can't, hasn't got the other camera anymore because... Okay, so there's no windows open, and the doors are generally closed all day long. And I've never seen any insects flying around in this room because it is shut up most of the time. But it is the coolest room in the house, which they say that spirits tend to absorb heat energy, right? And the cause a cooler environment. So maybe there's something going on in that room when no one else is in it that makes it the coolest room in the house. But these are heavy curtains here. They don't let any sun through, and there's no window open. But you'll see in a minute this bright orb, which looks like a plasma orb, pass through, and you can see it zigzags all over the place and then heads towards the camera, but we never see it on the camera throughout the rest of the night. So if it was a bug, it was a really strange bug. It flew across the room and then decided to go asleep at 6:30 in the morning.
The paranormal or the aliens destroyed it. So it's not in the room anymore.
Yeah, so I used to have a camera over here. So we had both cameras filmed, so you could see that if you wanted to prove that there was nothing touching the camera over this side, that it would be visible on each camera in each corner. One in that corner, one in this corner.
Don't work. And what happened this night too is the SD card on the camera here was totally corrupted. I had to reformat it. Had to replug it in. But lucky enough, I got it streaming to the box in the kitchen where I was capturing it. But anyway, and the hallway one too was also corrupted. 2 SD cards had to be formatted and reinitialized to get them working again. So I had no other stuff apart from this one video, these videos here. So yeah, I'm laying on my right side because if you've got stomach problems, acid reflux and stuff, it's best to lay on your right. It also helps not get sick in the mornings, but often you move in night time, right? But you can see if I play this, I'm snoring. My nose was terribly blocked that night. I didn't put any spray in my nose because you can't use it every day. And the day you don't use it is when you can't breathe, right? Especially at night time.
Like now.
Sometimes I just do alternative nostrils, so that one blocks up and the other one is free. It somehow stops.
Yeah, so we have got sleep apnea. I probably shouldn't muck around with it though.
Bogies or snot if you want to.
Need to move it on faster somehow. But probably stuff up.
So just be warning, there's some terrible snoring on it. So just be. Yeah, I sound like the lawnmower man. Let's just mute that. How do we mute it? Oh, we'll just turn it down. There we go. So no movement. Nothing strange happening, is it? It looks very quiet.
No dust.
Compared to what we've seen in the past with a lot of dust as well as strange things flying around, which some said were bugs, but
I'm just going on a bit, see if we can pin it further.
It's a shame I haven't got a regular camera in there to see.
Okay, so I need to get where it comes out the curtain.
Because it's not coded properly. VLC to be able to handle that. Should really cache it. There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Where did it come from, guys? It just
comes
suddenly
out of
appeared
nowhere.
from there to there. And that's thick curtains there. So how did it pass through that? It disappeared out of nowhere, like a plasma thing. Now look, it's changed directions. Changed directions. We've got some motion blur happening. It's moving so fast. Now it's heading down towards me, flying right over top of me here. Look how bright it is. And it's not a regular shape. Look. There's a wee bit of motion blur there. But look at that funny shape inside it there. It almost looks like a letter C, doesn't it? And you can see the circles on the bedspread.
It almost looks like it's got a chunk missing there too, doesn't it? It's like semi-transparent. Just like that guy in Canada filming his orange orb. Because it's on AI, infrared. IR, I mean. We don't know if it's colour or not. And we haven't got the colour night vision in there anymore. I had to buy a new camera to replace it. But yeah, what is it? Doesn't look like a bug, does it? Beats me.
And going through it.
And it doesn't look like a normal dust particle. Dust particles tend to be like flickery and more transparent than that.
But it's not flickering like a normal dust thing. Look at that. Suddenly got brighter in one frame. It looks like an unhappy face here, but that's part of the circle going through it. See the circle lines here? Looks like an unhappy smiley face. That's Paul going to rant about proofers that have double standards. There we go. Now it's going up again. It's moving all over the place. I've got some motion blur. Now it's sipping over here. Sipping all over the bloody place. Look, bang, every direction. Whoa, look how fast that moved. Where's it gone to?
One massive blur there.
It left a streak behind, but it's gone. It's a shame I haven't got a regular camera in there to see if there's a spot of light. Look, it moves so fast that it left a streak. It's near my head now. There's my hand, and my head's up here. Now it's gone.
And we never see it again.
And you got to remember,
So what
it's
the
cold
hell
night
is that,
now.
guys? Still scratching my head on that one. Didn't look like a bug. Couldn't see any wings. Yeah, definitely looked like it was like a ball of plasma energy. So, like I said, we got all these different types. Well, yeah. Maybe there's still more science to come on all that. Okay, what was this one? Oh yeah, let's talk about the mother and all that. I think there was another one. What did I close down? We can't spend all day on it, I suppose. So yeah, what's all the other stuff I got here? Quantum physics of plasma, plasmoids, consciousness, fourth domain of life. How consciousness became the universe. So, this is this Joseph guy. And as we know, he based it on NASA footage. So I went looking for his paper on it, and this is it. I might just post it to you. You can have a look through it. But you can see there's a lot of reading. Plasmoids also change shape, some consistent of multiple mini plasmoids. And it's talking about the NASA footage again. This one, right? Which is unremarkable, really. It's pretty low quality garbage, really. There's the tether, which was glowing, and all these what NASA said was ice particles, but probably are just the grommets that we're talking about, all going in different directions. Yeah, it's just garbage, right? Analysing that. That kind of reminds me of that other guy that looks into, what's his name? I forget it. But he spent like 2 hours just explaining the NASA footage, comparing it to, what do you call it, Inca discs, or whatever they were called, Mayan discs. But you can see it's just garbage. And now he's got this one here. So this just proves that there's 3 scientists, and one of them's AV Lab, and this guy. He's talking about lightning storms and seeing these plasmoids being formed, which is like ball lightning, right? So that one's probably legit. And he's seeing how they're interacting with each other. But that could be because they're charged, right? And they're in a field, the Earth's field. And they're in probably solar wind too. We expect them to react, repel, and attract. So yeah, so he's got those, and then he's got this crappy looking one. What's this one? Electromagnetic radiation, tether. Let's talk about the tether again. It's just garbage, man. Now he's talking about the sun ejecting buds, numerous buds, ropes. So that's got to be a rope. And what's this one? Worms, critters, I don't know. Bacterial brain. How's he connecting that to the other ones? Comparing the nervous system of invertebrates and with sphericals or plasmoids. So yeah. This comes across a wee bit like pseudoscience, doesn't it? Hunters and grazers and floaters. Stop grazing on me. So what was that orb in my bedroom up to, I wonder? Was it sucking my energy out of me? Or was it simply heading towards the cupboard? And, you know, that spirits like to hide in cupboards for some reason. Or was it simply just passing through the house like it wasn't there? And it was passing into the next room in the house. And so on, and then eventually going back outside again. Who knows? It's not like we could have tracked it and followed it from the bedroom to where it went to. Yeah, so yeah, this guy spent a lot of effort on this, and that's not really science, as far as I'm concerned. And now we're talking about neurons in the brain, are we? Networks of electromagnetic rope cables. No, that's got to be neurons, isn't it? What have we got here? Yeah, it's got to be. Then you'll probably be talking about quantum computers. Oh yeah, the brain. I don't know if you want to read through all that crap, but yeah, after seeing that, I wasn't impressed. Especially when he's one of 3 scientists, and A.V. Loebs is another one which we don't really like too much either. So that makes the third one even more or less likely to be likable. But I'll post a link to that one called, what was his name again? Joseph. How would you peer review that, you know? I suppose you could check the maths and say, yeah, it's peer reviewed. It's ridiculous, really. Philly, or Philby, how's it going? Someone from Phil at last. See, I'm the only one that takes on these complicated topics and tries to break it down for everybody. I'm not sure, it just drives you batty, doesn't it? Novelist Peter F. Hamilton has a very interesting take on intelligent orbs called life self, beings of pure consciousness, free from physical form. They explore the universe to gain knowledge. Well, it sounds like a good story. Still recall the encounter. We'll never forget L. Gray Anderson. Yes, yeah, I'll never forget him. I miss him as much as Charlie Roo. I think about Charlie every day. So we're finished with that bit. So I'm not going to be bothered reading out that garbage, right? It doesn't appeal to me at all. Now this one here, found it on UFOs. 1 year ago, exploring plasmoids, hypothesis connecting European consciousness and paranormal phenomenon. Now I'm not sure who did it. I won't be surprised if it's RV Lab. RV Loeb, I mean. Conclusion: intersection of plasmoid physics, consciousness, and electromagnetic fields offers a new way to understand various paranormal phenomena. Remember, we're talking about UAPs, astral protection, ghosts, or poltergeists. These guys just don't have a clue. I think it's connecting. The orbs are part of the portal creation, allowed the things that, well, is related to aliens, but allows things to pass from one universe into another universe. So I think there's probably something faster than the speed of light myself, because we're talking about spooky action at distance and how they can communicate with each other regardless of the distance in between. And it doesn't make sense. There has to be some sort of connection between the two particles when they make a what do you call it? What do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? When you create two particles that spooky action and distance. What's the word I'm looking for? It's out of my head anyway. But there has to be like some sort of particle that moves faster than the speed of light that communicates between the two particles. And it almost seems like it's instant. Entanglement is the word I was looking for. When you create entangled particles. And normally it's done by antimatter, as they claim. Like electron, antimatter particle is a positron. And it can spit out the two particles, but they are able to communicate with each other. And also they're able to phase change a photon into two photons entangled. Now, I did actually question AI about all this stuff, but so someone said here it's all speculation, yeah. But instead of the drones, in theory, so everybody's talking about drones and orbs. And I thought there might be something interesting there, but I left it posted. What's this one? Just empty tab. What have we got here? Alright, so I asked it what a plasmoid was, and this goes back to 2003. Plasmoid is a compact plasma structure with an integral magnetic field. They have been studied extensively in controlled fusion research and categorized according to relatively strength. So that's what I'm saying. There's plasma and there's plasma. So I'm thinking there's different types of plasma, and only one has consciousness, or appears to have consciousness, but it's not actually living because it hasn't got DNA and it's not self-consuming energy to keep itself sustained, which is what I said at the beginning of this episode. It's complicated stuff, right? So it's talking about particle accelerator, is it? I'm not sure why I kept that. Maybe just because of that statement at the front. But we're probably going to wrap up soon, aren't we? Probably need... I'll get rid of that Reddit post. And there was some other stuff here. Yeah, cool. So we're talking about these other sky watchers here. UFO intros. Here is a sped up clip from Mike Baltessa. Baltessa? I'm not sure that's how you say it. These are the guys that appear on the Good Trouble show and Ross Cohart shows. And they say they're filming orbs that they summon. We'll just play the video again to refresh your memory. And you can see these things are low on the horizon, and they're moving and flaring at the horizon event there near the ground, which kind of suggests they are mostly Starlink satellites. And of course they've been slowly being added all the time into space to form a complete chain. Here is obviously not complete trains, but they're in certain groupings. And until they got the full trains, you ain't got full coverage, really. But they're meant to communicate with each other in space, transmit the data packets from one side of the world to the other, or whatever. So they're trying to say this is fascinating footage. I think it's pretty boring, and it's pretty mundane. But they think it's fantastic. You notice each and every one of these orbs are moving in a straight line and look remarkably similar to dozens of LED footage I captured last year. And of course, Flaky analyzed it and confirmed it as known satellites. So there's the footage here, and here's the computer simulation. And we should be able to see the same patterns. There we go, patterns here and there. Bingo, that's how you use software. And knowing flight paths. And you can work out what you're seeing are not summoned UFOs at all. And it's debunked. Unfortunately, PsychRec doesn't have the sun to cause flare, and I suppose MacRest has got to program that in yet. To get it as close as real-life simulation as possible. But it's pretty cool. And you can see it from the same point of view they were. But these guys, these sky watchers, are meant to be scientists. They're meant to be able to do all the stuff that average Joes on the web like us are doing, and rule out nonsense, right? So this is why we don't trust these people that are saying orbs are conscious plasma orbs, because they may not be. It might be just satellites, and they look like they're meeting up with each other, but it's only because they're in orbit in such a way that they're meant to. Okay, what did I say here? I was asking lots of questions. We'll just go through it actually. So I asked it here what Charles's qualifications are, and it's found a profile on him. So he's got ice hockey qualifications. It's got his physical spec. It's almost 6 foot tall, is it? 170 pounds. Right-handed. Chess player. Real estate. Broker. What else did he say he was? Medical practitioner, wasn't it? Well, I don't see it listed here. No, it's not in there. Real estate. As well-known Canadian skywatcher, UFO researcher, British Columbia, while often referred to in media context as the UFO hunter. His qualifications are primarily rooted in independent observation and the use of high-end optical technology rather than a formal academic background in ufology or extraterrestrial science. His core quals and activities, skywatching expertise. I didn't know that was actually a specialist topic, but anyway, specialized equipment and Generation 3 night vision gear. How to use it, yeah, okay. Media documentation, worked gained significant public attention when he captured high quality footage of pulsating UAPs, energy orbs over Vancouver, which we've watched already. Research focus. His focus is on documented UAPs, public contribution. He frequently shares his findings and interviews insights with the UFO community, like Robert Farmer. Note on professional background. Outside his skywatching pursuits, he has worked in professional environments such as DNGEG, a major visual effects and animation studio, in roles like production assistant, technical, video and image and software, so making movies. Is not a professional scientist. Well, he's often labelled as a UFO hunter, so he's just repeating it again. And you may be, potential confusion with others. Dr. Dennis, Canadian professor, and Charles H., a botanist. So similar names, but not him. So it's good to know who we're dealing with. So that's why he's talking with other scientists, because he's not one. I asked Flaky about the video. I said, has he debunked this one, because it's an old one, and these guys have been around a lot longer than I have. Always thought, it should be thought, not, it's got a missing T, perhaps weather balloons, sunlit, not sure on time he films. Yeah, he did actually say midnight in the end, didn't he? So it can't be sunlit weather balloon in this case, but he thinks orbs are alive compared to what they got in the lab as scientists. So we just found out he's not a scientist, but other scientists are claiming they have duplicated in the lab. But I don't know. So some confusion there. So he says he haven't looked at that one. Okay, hasn't looked at that one, but looks like a Chinese lantern, he reckons. I don't think it is a Chinese lantern, but anyway. And a quick check of his channel suggests the sightings are of the ISS satellites and planes. Now, I did have a look at his channel, and I have to agree. I thought they were ISS satellites and planes, and I posted a comment on each of them. Someone said on that vid 9 years ago, Charles, great catch, too bad you have such a huge amount of light pollution on your condo balcony. I have a feeling this would have been bright orange in the dark sky. Don't know though. But he said here, a friend who sees these often from his northwest Tucson residence views them over Bureau of Land Management territory kept watch over by the Border Patrol. He became friendly with the Border Control agents during his night watches, and so talking about Arizona, I think here, Tucson, Arizona. One of them fessed up that they did indeed see them all the time, and yet they do not register on their thermal equipment. F-16s are often scrambled after them from our Davis MUFON Air Force Base, and the lights blink out when the jets arrive. So, that sounds like Foo Fighters, doesn't it? So, there's a mystery there. And makes you wonder, maybe if they're used for portal opening and closing, they also could be like remote controlled to be able to collect and send data back. So these orbs flying around the sky might be collecting data, or opening portals, allowing things to fly in and out from their universe, their planet. Anyway, yeah, so if we went there, and then there, and then click on YouTube, that will take us to his channel. And there it is. Just shrink it down again. So if we go to his main page here, so you got the link, so you can do the same what I just did here. If you go to his videos, he's got some that are UFOs. Strange light elongated object. So you can see which ones I looked at. So that one there. And when I looked at this one, I thought International Space Station passing overhead on that one. It's got a strange zoom effect to amplify it there for some reason. So, what is it? I said, where's the tracking apps in real time with the footage? These low-flying red ones that disappear in 1 to 4 minutes tend to be International Space Station. Okay. He hasn't replied to it. And then we looked at other ones here. And we got one with a lightning storm, is it? And it looks a pretty violent lightning storm, doesn't it? Why is it not playing? I don't know what's going on. Confirmed UAP. I'm not sure what we're looking at here. What's these blue arrows? Do you see anything? I don't in this one. Probably need some better editing. Then these showed up. So, let's see. I've shown a laser at something moving. But it could be anything. It could be a bat, a bird being spooked from its roost during the lightning. He's saying it's not bats or birds. I beg to differ. How does he know it's not that? So that's what that is. I thought it was that's a laser. He's got a blue laser. That's a fairly powerful one too, which is probably illegal. Okay, we saw something that looked like a bug there. Classic UAP mimicking laser color. Where? This guy should go and work for Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, we got something moving there. And the reason that's the same color as the laser is because it's a small insect closer to the camera where he's filming that's being illuminated by the laser. Obviously, because some of the light gets scattered from the laser, right? And some of it will illuminate a small bug that's in front. So yeah, that's just garbage, you know. This guy is not coming across as a real expert to me at all. But he does debunk, which is kind of interesting. He does dismiss some things. A V-shaped object. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Went outside my balcony. He needs to get out more. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, we got something moving in the sky. And when I saw that, straight away I thought, a number balloon. So what number are we looking at? Or a letter balloon. Look, it's rotating in the wind, just like a balloon would. And one that's especially uneven like that will go all over the place if it's not weighted, right? So I reckon it's a letter V there. And of course it's not going to be like a UFO because it's going all over the bloody place. Plus, pardon my French. Okay, so I think I said that was a letter balloon. And no reply. The way it's moving looks like a letter V miler balloon. And yeah, it just makes me wonder. It looks like the US Enterprise. No. This is what the UFO community needs a lot more of. Posters who don't think everything they see is a mothership. Okay, so what did he think it was? I went outside. What did he say it was? The object was traveling much quicker. Nevertheless, can't see this being anything but man-made object, not a balloon. So he's wrong. It's clearly a balloon. The way it's tumbling, spinning with the air current as it's moving. So it's not what we want. We want someone that's a wee bit more knowledgeable, and he's been meant to be doing this for 10 years or more in the field. So yeah, go and check out the rest of his videos if you want. There might be some interesting ones there. I don't think he's got too many up actually. Let's have a look. It's got a few. Yeah, it's quite a lot to look through there, so here we go for time anyway. What's happened to my other screen? All sorts of crazy things has been going on. Is it still recording? It won't let me open Sesame. Oh yeah, we forgot about that. We got no way now. So it must be coming up to 4 hours, is it? 11. Yeah, it must be getting close. We're not doing too bad for time. Okay, we've been through that one, orange plasma. So we're done with that one. And we're done with flaky. I think we're finished actually. It's not bad timing. And then I come across this article here. Plasma blobs hint at new form of life. And this is in 2003. Physicists have created blobs of gaseous plasma that can grow, replicate, and communicate, fulfilling. So have we got a video of this? No. Split into... He found that spheres could replicate by splitting into two under right conditions and got bigger. So where they're getting the energy from though? Trapped inside a bounty of inner nucleus of gas atoms. Energy and initial spark govern their size and lifespan. So it's this electric spark caused a high concentration of ions, electrons to accumulate at a positively charged electrode, which spontaneously forms spheres. Had a boundary made up of two layers, outer layer, negatively charged electrons, and the inner layer of positively charged ions. See, it doesn't mean it's alive, and has consciousness. Romania. So yeah, it should have been a video of this, shouldn't it? 2003. Temperature trouble. Work for life on other planets. The cell-like spheres which we described could be at the origin of other forms of life we have not yet considered. Okay. Could be life out there, but not as we know it. Sounds like Star Trek episode. Biochemical evolution. Electric storms. Now I posted you the article there. I had it Alright, I got it through this thing called Remove Paywall. As you can't read the article. I'll post a link to it and you might be interested in it, but also the article